Hello, it's Mr. VP and I'm back. Today we're gonna talk about world religions, Muslim, Christian, Judaism. But first I want to share a teaching from Jesus. Luke 10:25. On one occasion, an expert of the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. You have answered correctly, Jesus replied. Do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. When he was attacked by robbers, they stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was. When he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? The expert in the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise. Now, 2 people passed by, looked, walked away, a priest and a Levite. Then a Samaritan walked by and helped the guy out. Paid for the whole, paid for the motel, bandaged him up, promised the innkeeper that he would reimburse whatever charges he accrued while he's gone. That's how you love a neighbor. They're not, they're outsiders, but the Samaritan was an outsider, and he had compassion and mercy on this guy. Now I was talking to Gemini, and I asked, give me a summary of religions that conquered Jerusalem and how they treated the other religions while they were there. So then it starts off around 637 CE, the Arabs conquered Jerusalem. Jews and Christians were there, and they let them practice their religion, let the Jews practice their religion, Christians. Now when the first crusade came, that's 1099, Christians conquered Jerusalem, and they slaughtered Muslims and Jews. Slaughtered them. 100 years later, a Muslim sultan reconquered Jerusalem, and still let Christians and Jews practice their faith. Jews were allowed to resettle back into Jerusalem. Christian pilgrims were free to visit the holy sites. And now we have Israel and Palestine. Palestine, mostly Muslims. And you already know what's going on over there. Which one of the religions do you feel were a neighbor to the others? Now, from what I'm learning, Muslims believe Jesus is a great prophet, virgin birth, the Torah, the same God. They might call him by the Arabic name, but it's the same God. And y'all fighting like freaking brats. Gotta have the last word. Back in the day, I was gangbanging. I didn't know, I made some friends, I didn't even know they were a gang. But one guy died in my car leaving a school dance. That's when I found out afterwards. But at the time, he was my best friend, and he died. I knew him for like a month. And so we got them back, and then they came back, killed my new best friend through the window while he was sleeping. I told myself, man, I keep losing best friends. So I told myself, I'm going to be the bigger man, and I'm going to end the cycle right there. No more friends died after that. But yeah, that was before I got into Jesus. But right now I'm like, whatever happened to turning the other cheek? What happened to love thy neighbor? What happened to all of that? What happened?